A gorgeous Saturday morning unfolding here in the Sooner State as the crowd continuing to make their way in here to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. After a long 4-year wait, the base gates are wide open as they will get the chance to witness American air power up close and personal. Good morning and welcome to day one of this 2023 Tinker Air Show. I'm Dan Hawkins from the Air Education and Training Command Public Affairs team. Absolutely delighted to be joined by my wingman, Airman First Class McKenna Gott from the PA team out at Nellis Air Force Base. McKenna, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. I'm so excited to be here. The weather is shaping up to be the perfect day for an air show. We have some cloud cover, which is nice. And those of you tuning in, thank you for watching Tinker TV. The theme of this year's air show is STEM Takes Flight, highlighting the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics that go into making human flight possible. And Dan, we have a heavy hitter lineup of acts this weekend, including the United States Navy Blue Angels. I actually got to see them for the first time yesterday during rehearsal. It was absolutely astonishing, so you want to stay tuned for that as they are our headliner. You also are going to get to see the United States Air Force F-35 demonstration team.
And you have a triad of operational missions that fly right here every day through the Oklahoma skies. We're going to see an E-3 Sentry airborne warning and control system aircraft. We'll see the Navy Strategic Communication Wing 1's E-6B Mercury in the airs this weekend, as well as a KC-135 Stratotaker, in tandem with the C-17 demonstration team from the First Command out at Air Education and Training Command, Altus Air Force Base. The Wings of Blue are happening, the national anthem about to be happening, but we've got a lot of civilian acts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see multiple civilian acts, including World War II demo, Tora, 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 as well as a host of other aerial and ground displays. It's going to be a great weekend.
We're thrilled now to be joined by Lieutenant General Stacy Hawkins, a 1991 graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, and who, as the Air Force Sustainment Center commander, responsible for 27 geographic locations, served 40,000 airmen, 3 air logistics complexes, 3 air base. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. How are you?
Doing well, Dan, and Airman God, it's so great to be here. I'm humbled to serve the men and women of the Air Force Sustainment Center. A lot of stuff is part of our portfolio, but the men and women make this happen every day, and I'm just humbled to be their teammate. What a great air show day.
Yeah, and how great is it? I mean, Tinker has not had an air show in 4 years, and such a great community partnership here, but how great is it to have the gates wide open?
I tell you, it's long overdue. You know, we came out of a global pandemic a few years ago. Dan, I'm not sure if you knew this about me, but I spent my formative years in the Air Force. I was the maintenance officer for the Air Force Thunderbirds, and I was on the air show circuit for 2 seasons from 2000 to 2001. And I tell you, this is Americana. This is bringing Americana back, and the folks who are streaming through our gates to see a great air show day. Surprisingly, the temps are down. I think we're right at high 70s, low 80s, so it's not been blistering hot as it's been across the country. So a great day to come out and see American air power displayed, capped off by the oldest air demonstration team in the history of this country, the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
Well, the theme of the air show is STEM Takes Flight, and when it comes to the Air Force Materiel Command mission, and by extension, of course, your mission, how important is STEM to the life cycle management of logistics?
I tell you, it's vitally important. And the Air Force Materiel Command, who's commanded by my boss, General Duke Richardson, we have 6 centers, and the Air Force Sustainment Center is one. And the 42,000 people who make up the Air Force Sustainment Center, we preserve America's readiness, and we do it through depot maintenance, managing the Air Force's supply chain, and we have an expansive software engineering ecosystem where we have software professionals also doing that work. And science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, key to that. To all of the young people out there in the audience, as you're coming up through school, really focus on science and math. Because the technologies and the advanced technologies that we'll be bringing into the Air Force inventory in the future, they will be foundationally built on science, math, and technology. And to the extent that our students are studying those fields, will make them better prepared to join our team, but also to explore a field of experience and a field of opportunity wherever they decide to take their talents. So we're really proud to feature STEM Takes Flight, which is where we're featuring everything from robotics engineering disciplines. If you go over to that part of the air show today, you'll see a lot of things, a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, sir, we know that the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex plays a huge role in the Air Force Sustainment Center mission. Can you speak more specifically to what the Air Logistics Complex team does here at Tinker?
Well, right here at Tinker Air Force Base, Tinker is one of our 3 anchor bases. And here at Tinker Air Force Base, the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex, they provide depot maintenance for our bomber and tanker fleets, B-52, B-1, KC-46, and KC-135. They're also the propulsion center of excellence. So the array of Air Force engine propulsion systems maintained right here at Tinker Air Force Base. We also have a software engineering group. And also the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex actually supports 2 legs of our nuclear triad, with the bomber leg and also the E-6B Mercury, which is actually a Navy aircraft. So we are a joint supporting organization, the largest depot of the 3. And again, 10,000 Americans coming through these gates every day to preserve a readiness for the United States of America.
Yeah, and earlier this year, you talked at the Logistics Officer Association, and I watched that, and I was fascinated because you were talking about not only knowing what your boss is thinking about, that may interest you, but that you were fascinated about your boss's boss. And I think about General Brown, I think about Secretary Kendall and operational imperatives. But what you guys do in the big picture for strategic competition, it really can't be understated, and it happens not only here in Oklahoma City, but across the Sustainment Center. But you guys are absolutely critical in strategic competition.
Absolutely. So when you look at our national defense strategy, this complex, the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex and the larger Air Force Sustainment Center, we directly support meeting the objectives of that strategy. I have 4 priorities as the Air Force Sustainment Center commander. One is we need to produce the promise, and produce the promise for our nation's warfighters. We have 2 major threats that we're actually trying to deter. One is the threat posed by Russia and its aggression, its tendencies, but also the threat posed by the People's Republic of China. And so to the extent that we can actually field capabilities to actually deter those threats, to keep America's values and freedoms preserved, that's what we're all about. And we do that from actually supporting my 4 priorities: produce the promise, people make it happen, process is the way we do it, which is our AOP, Art of the Possible mission culture, and preparing for future competition and warfighting. To the extent that we actually follow those priorities and materialize them, we're able to support the Secretary's 7 operational imperatives in support of that national defense strategy. So it's really exciting work, and we're proud to do it.
And now we know how important partnerships with the community are, and it's amazing just to look around and see the community that has come out here today. But can you speak to the economic impact that Tinker has on the local Oklahoma City area?
Well, Tinker has been the largest single-site organization in the state of Oklahoma. So there's no larger single site that's actually jolting the economy from economic impact, billions of dollars each year. Again, 10,000 folks, mostly civilian. 90% of our organization here at the Oklahoma City complex made up of civilians who are born and bred in the community, give back to the community, shop in the community, and that economic impact is tremendous. When we also look at partnerships, we also talk about partnerships with industry. So much of what we do is not just part of what we do inside the organic industrial base, but we actually partner across the defense organizations, the defense industrial base rather, and private sector commercial companies locate and relocate to Tinker to be close to the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex, so we can actually strengthen and bolster those partnerships with industry. So just a network effect of outsized impact on this local area and the state at large.
Well, obviously, kind of talking to the single-site employer thing, recruiting from maybe 2 fronts, sir. Obviously, a lot of civilians work here, but there's a lot of opportunity to work here at Tinker.
Yeah, so we're growing. We're growing as an organization. Our software organization alone, we're looking at 4 to 8% year-over-year growth. And those partnerships also extend to our academic institutions, our trade schools, our vocational colleges. It just goes on and on as to how this entire ecosystem fuels the mission that happens here at Tinker Air Force Base in the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex. Just really proud of the partnerships across the board with industry, with academia, with local vendors and local businesses. It takes this entire village to keep this mission going.
And one of the reasons why we do air shows is recruiting, but also for Big Blue, for regular, the total force, guard, reserve. And we just saw you swear in the newest recruits, and that's very cool. And you talked about the 50 years of the all-volunteer force. It makes us unique as a country. But can you talk about why these things are so important from a recruiting perspective, and talk about maybe why you joined the Air Force, what drew you in, because it's such a great place to be.
Absolutely. So 50 years ago, the President of the United States made the decision to establish an all-volunteer force. We're not like some countries where we require people. We don't have compulsory service. We once did, and it was called the draft. But in 1973, the President established the all-volunteer force, and this is the reason why we are the greatest military force that's ever been fielded in the history of the world, for that matter. Unfortunately, we've had some struggles actually meeting our recruiting targets over the years. And today, air shows all over the nation that happen on Saturdays and Sundays all across the nation is our way of opening our gates, inviting people to come and actually see up close what we do as the United States military. So many Americans, when they talk about what motivated them to serve, they often go back to attending an air show. And it's an open event. It's something to where you can actually get up close to our aircraft. You can actually see real live airmen, and it just it brings you in, and it compels you to want to say, I want to be like them. And it's not just the technology, but it's the values, our core values that we represent in the Air Force, which are integrity, service before self, and excellence in all we do. So this is a way that we can actually fill that, close our recruiting shortfalls, meet those recruiting targets, and to keep that tradition of volunteer service alive in this country.
Sir, we are honored. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with us today.
Thank you for being here today, and looking forward to a great day. If you're out there and you're thinking about whether to come out to the air show today, it's not as blistering hot as we thought it would be. It's the perfect day to come out. We have vendors all around, folks who are bringing their products to show, and we got food, we got hydration, and it's a beautiful day to come out to watch American Air Power, and looking forward to being here today. Thank you all so much, Dan and Airman God. I appreciate y'all being here.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much,
right.
sir. That was Lieutenant General Stacy Hawkins, commander of the Air Force Sustainment Center here at Tinker Air Force Base. So glad that he could stop by. And McKenna, there we see the Wings of Blue jumping in. How cool is this? We're underway.
That is amazing. Something you don't see every day, that's for sure.
Yep, so the Wings of Blue from the United States Air Force Academy jumping in. We're getting close to the really start of the flying acts. The national anthems will be coming up here soon, but the Wings of Blue have been jumping for quite a long time, since the 60s, believe it or not. That's an incredibly long time, but they don't just jump, McKenna. I don't know if you knew this or not, but they actually teach airmanship classes at the United States Air Force Academy, and so putting on their airmanship skills here in front of a great crowd, and General Hawkins talked to it, but what a great crowd that has filed in. I mean, just even like 30 minutes ago, there was a lot of room behind us, but it's starting to fill up here.
Yeah, it is starting to get packed for sure. All across the flight line, everyone is just piling in, and this is the perfect way to start the day with the Wings of Blue coming down. It just gives you that sense of pride, and everyone is so excited for the rest of the day. I know I am.
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious, what act are you probably the most excited to see? Because there's a lot of cool stuff. We're going to see explosions. We're going to see fifth-generation fighters. I mean, what are you excited to see?
That is a really tough question, but I think I'm most excited to see the civilian act, Tora. I haven't seen them before either, and I'm super excited just to see how that plays out.
All right, well, we're going to send it out for the first time today out to the narrator out there at Show Center, Rob Ryder.
up in the blue sky is one of the best things I've ever done, Rob, if I do say so myself. As our jumpers come on to final, give it up for Master Sergeant Soria and your Tinker Air Force Base Wing Commander, Colonel Sebrin. And a smooth touchdown landing for our two jumpers. Let's give one more round of applause for today's jumpers, ladies and gentlemen. Today's jumpers will be packing their parachutes by the Special Forces tent. Come on out to help our jumpers pack and meet the wings of blue. We stand today with on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Tusher, Commander, thank you, and blue skies.
Back here at Air Show Central, you see the jelly belly of Kent Peace up in the air. The Interstate Cadet, that's a 37-foot wingspan. He does 3 amazing acts, so fun. So the aerial acts, McKenna, are underway, and the crowd still continuing to file in.
Absolutely, and with Jelly Belly, he does aerial comedy acts. He does a wingtip scrape. That I can't even believe this. I'm so scary to me, but that is awesome that he has the talent to be able to do that.
So let's send it out to the third member now of our crew, and that's going to be Clayton Cummings from the 72nd Air Base Wing Public Affairs team, and he is going to be joining us all weekend long with updates from the field, and he is going to talk about some aircraft in the United States Air Force inventory that date back to the 1950s. Clayton, good morning, sir.
Good morning to both of you. We're live from the flight line here of the 2023 Tinker Air Show. Folks are so excited. This has been a long time in the making. 4 years. Normally we do an air show every 2 years, but COVID-19 canceled our show 2 years ago. Thousands of people are out here. I'm making a ton of friends. One of the folks I do want to introduce you to, Kayla and her family are out here enjoying the air show. What do you think so far?
It's pretty amazing. I've never seen them this close before.
It's really nice. What actor are you looking forward to seeing today?
Probably the Blue Angels.
Yes, that'll be a show.
Yes, absolutely.
Kayla, I hope you and your family have a good time. Thanks so much for talking to us. Yeah, believe it or not, there are tons of things that happen on base that many don't know about. And one of the programs that is essential to the Air Force is a program called REACT.
We got an air show going on here.
On the list of things a 3D printer is able to print, you can add airplane parts to the list. It's a thing, and it's happening at Tinker Air Force Base.
If you give some very skilled engineers and technicians access to advanced technologies like 3D printers and scanners, there's a lot of complex problems they can solve for the Air Force.
This is REACT, or the Reverse Engineering and Critical Tooling Lab. Here, engineers can scan old aircraft parts, then print a new one off. The parts printed are identical, sometimes even more durable than before.
I'm always surprised by, we might buy a scanner, think I'm going to use it to reverse engineer, and instead we use it to help install a door in an aircraft correctly.
Thousands of taxpayer dollars have been saved recreating parts or totally re-engineering them for an aging aircraft fleet. What started as a team of 9 a decade ago has grown to 40 employees today.
We've branched out to the Marines, the Navy, Hill Air Force Base, all sorts of Whiteman Air Force Base, so we have a wide reach. Our names kind of got out there.
The future for additive manufacturing is a bright one. Getting experience in the field is easy.
There's all sorts of programs out there that you can get kids involved with early. And same thing, going through high school, you can find the same kind of opportunities.
At Tinker Air Force Base, I'm Clayton Cummins.
It really is amazing the technology, how far that has come. Dan, we'll send things back to you.
Thanks, Clayton. Make sure you put some sunscreen on out there. You're going to need it all day traversing that flight line, so he's going to have a lot of fun out there today.
Yes, and did you see how cute that baby was?
Oh, yeah.
This is the perfect family-friendly event. If you're in the area, definitely come out and check it out. We would love to have you out here.
Yeah, we'll be here all day, but for right now, let's send it back out to the airshow narrator, Rob Ryder.
In front of you, and I want you to land the airplane right now.
Okay, just a minute now. That's easy for you to say. Little down, please.
Okay, that's good. Now, there's a red knob on the left called a throttle. Oh, you just scraped a wing.
That was a wing dinger.
Oh, yeah. You don't shake your tail feathers at me, you young whippersnapper.
This thing right in front of me, a tower?
Yeah, that's a tower there. That's the negative Ghost Rider. The tower is full.
That was fun.
Okay, here's what I want you to be careful now. I want you to use that stick. You can use the rudder and the stick to turn right or left, and then pull back on the stick. You get higher, push forward on the stick, and get lower.
Banking.
All right. Okay, now, Chuck, pull up. Pull up. Pull up, Chuck!
Oh, I think I just did.
Oh! Well, oh no. You just lost a wheel.
Got a wheel problem.
I think you certainly have. It's on the roll, though. All right, Chuck Dramamine, I want you to get on the ground. I want you to use the throttle. It's by your left hand over there. You can pull that back and slow down a bit. And I want you to use the stick and your left rudder to turn left a little bit. Not easy, Chuck. Just gently. Do it gently. And ease it back.
Busy right now.
No, you can't be too busy. I got it. You're busy. Why?
I can't. I'm doing paperwork.
Listen, this is not a time to do paperwork, Chuck. I want you to get on the ground right now. What kind of paperwork are you doing?
Very important paperwork.
Oh, that kind of paperwork.
Yeah, I got to get that back.
Toilet paper. Oh, no. Well, good luck on getting it back. Oh, you got it. Well, you got some back. Are you all right now?
Doing better, boss.
Okay, well, listen, I want you to land the airplane now, so take it easy. Don't spin it. Don't easy. Little left, little back stick on the. Okay, good. Now I want you to follow that road down and gently make a turn the other direction to the right. Yeah, that's better. Now come. Where are you going, Chuck?
I'm dizzy.
You're dizzy or busy? Okay. All right. Well, if you can see that runway now, pull back on that red knob, the throttle on the left, and aim for it, and gently let the stick go forward, okay? Okay, gently back, not too much back pressure on the stick. Easy. Little back pressure, just a little back pressure. There you go. Keep the wheels straight. Keep your pedals straight. And there you go. You're down. You're bouncing it. Well, okay, you can. Now you're slowing down pretty good. Way to go, Chuck.
Can't get the tail down.
Well, pull back on the throttle. That works.
Putting the structure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Kent Peach, the world-famous Kent Peach, award-winning pilot who will be flying 2 more times for you today. Let's give it up from Minot, North Dakota, Mr. Kent Peach in the Jelly Belly Interstate Cadet. Way to go, partner. And he wants to thank the folks at Jelly Belly Candy Company, the company that makes those 50 varieties of gourmet-flavored jelly beans that were popularized by then President Ronald Reagan when he took them into the White House. They're from Fairfield, California. You go to jellybelly.com and you can order those, and it's just a wonderful way to enjoy sweets. But what a pilot we've seen here. Winner of the 2 main performer awards in the air show industry, the Bill Barber Award for Air Show Showmanship and also the International Council of Air Shows Art Scholl Memorial Showmanship Award. He will be back later. What a treat it is to have Kent Peach here today. What a treat indeed. Coming up in just a couple of moments, we're going to see.
Stand by to toss back to Dan. And go Dan. Audio.
How cool was that, being able to watch Jelly Belly's comedy aerial act? That was so awesome. But hey, if you are heading out here yourself, be sure that you are following Tinker on their social media channels at Tinker Air Force Base on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get the most up-to-date information. Also, you can check out the official app. The Air Force Connect app is the official app of the 2023 Tinker Air Show, so be sure to download it on your favorite app store.
Yeah, and so there's also some things, if you're coming out, prohibited that you cannot bring on to the installation. It is a Department of Defense installation. After all, you can see those items on your screen. Obviously, don't bring any drugs or alcohol, weapons, things of that nature. Unfortunately, you can't bring a cooler, but there is a list there of things you can bring, and I would recommend sunscreen and ear protection.
Yeah, absolutely. And with everyone coming out here, traffic might get a little backed up, and you just want to make your entrance as smooth as possible. Like we said, no coolers, but don't worry, there are plenty of vendors here.
Yeah, we can smell it all right next to our broadcast position, actually. But just a plug for Tinker's social media. They are online. In fact, our field reporter, Clayton, has been out and about. I've seen some updates from him on their Tinker Air Force Base Facebook page as well just a little while ago. So we hope that you can take some time and check out all the latest updates. You can see behind us earlier, maybe an hour ago, it was definitely not this full, starting to fill up.
Yeah, it's getting more packed and packed every second.
Yeah, and there, oh, what a great shot.
Wow.
And I got to give a plug out to our 2nd Audio-Visual Squadron crew from Hill Air Force Base who are here this weekend, along with the 3rd Audio-Visual Squadron crew from J Base San Antonio, Lackland. They are providing the pictures all weekend long. But McKenna, how beautiful is that shot?
It's amazing. I love that everyone is able to come check this out in person, but if you're not able to, again, shout out to the crew for being able to pull this up and make it happen.
Yeah, and so the crowd trying to get the best seats in the house because the Blue Angels, of course, will be the headline act. They'll fly at around 1,500. That's actually when the ground performance. And so we're going to pitch out to the air show narrator, Rob Ryder, for a few minutes.
And right here in Oklahoma. And this base, Tinker Air Force Base, is the largest single-site employer in the entire state of Oklahoma.
And what it does for our United States Air Force is you can strip an airplane down to basically the ribs on the wings, and you take apart everything and go right. You come out with a new airplane when you're done with one here.
Yeah, so getting back to the B-52, which is just one of the aircraft here, we're planning on flying that aircraft till it's almost 100 years old, so it has to come back here every few years to get some work done on it and put it back out into the fleet so it's ready, and we sustain that combat power here at Oklahoma.
And with 744 of those B-52s that were originally built, only about 70 or 75 remain, so it is incumbent upon the team, Team Tinker, to make sure they keep flying, because they are part of the nuclear deterrent for our country to make sure nobody's going to try to do anything untoward, even though the bomber's been flying since the early 1950s.
That's correct. Just about 75 left. And if you think about Tinker, and since you talked about, our nuclear deterrent capability is centered here at Tinker Air Force Base with the Navy that flies the E-6B here. And then we've got the B-52, we've got the KC-46, we've got the KC-135, all designed to refuel those aircraft to keep them airborne so that we protect our country day in, day out.
As we look out there, we can see B-1 bombers. We have the B-1, that's part of the triad of nuclear deterrent aircraft. We have the B-2 stealth bomber from up at White Air Force Base in Kansas City.
That's right.
We have the B-52 from Minot in North Dakota and Barksdale. But they're deployed all over the world. And when they come back, they not only get serviced and maintained and made sure that they are airworthy, but a lot of significant upgrades go into those aircraft as well as technology changes.
That's correct. So the B-52, we will change the designator of that aircraft here very shortly to the B-52J. It will get new engines, it'll get new avionics, it'll get new radar. So again, trying to keep our air power as good as we can keep it, as long as we can keep it. And then here in the not too distant future, we'll be home for depot maintenance for the B-21, which is our next generation of strategic deterrent aircraft.
And all that kind of research and stuff that goes on, it's just amazing the talent of the people, both military and civilian. And thank you again, Colonel, for opening up your base to all of us.
All right, back here at the Broadcast Central, Dan Hawkins, McKenna Gott with you. So delighted you could join us for this 2023 Tinker Air Show. STEM Takes Flight is the theme of this year's air show, and seems very appropriate to have the maintenance chief for the United States Navy's Blue Angels here with us, Senior Chief Alejandro Benito. Chief, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, excited to have you.
Thank you very much.
So I wanted to ask you first, the Blue Angels, obviously professionals, and you fly really cool airplanes, but tell us a little bit about the Blue Angels and your mission.
So again, it's Navy and Marines. We have the C-130 and the F-18s. The Marines take care of the C-130. Marines and Navy take care of the F-18s. So both components working together to make sure that we have safe demonstrations every day. So it's great.
And there's no doubt it takes an entire team to keep a fleet of FA-18 Hornets flying. But what would you say? You said that earlier that you've been here 2 years. You've had some experience. What would you say is the biggest challenge in getting the Blue Angels off the ground?
So right now you're seeing the jets Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then we leave on Sunday. But this team has been working since Monday to groom the jets, get them ready. Tuesday we fly, Wednesday we fly. We're making sure that all the jets are prepared for this weekend. So it starts from Monday morning to right now, just to make sure everything's good to go.
So it's a super high-tempo job
Exactly.
for you all.
Yes.
Yeah, so maintenance, obviously, what you do, it's your business, and because of the theme of this year's air show, talking about STEM, and it's so important to the missions here at Tinker Air Force Base, but can you talk about, obviously the importance of STEM education and how you guys incorporate that in your daily lives as maintenance professionals?
So electrical, hydraulics, everything you can think of what makes an aircraft fly, that is what we have to fix. So we have to know the theory of operations. We need to know very basic things from how does electricity run, how much pressure does ailerons, stabs, everything works in order for us to be able to troubleshoot every day to make sure that the jets are ready to go. So it takes a lot.
That's awesome. So what would you say, in your experience, has been the most exciting aspect of being a Blue Angels maintenance officer?
Okay, so one of the most exciting things is being able to honestly talk to children, because they see us and they're going crazy about how do you guys get the jets ready to go. And we try to keep it as basic as possible just to make sure they understand. But it's how many people can see the jets, but the countless hours that we have to put into them, just seeing someone smile is honestly the most exciting thing about it. So.
We see a C-17 Globemaster taking to the skies, the KC-135 in the air. So I know as a maintenance guy at heart, you're loving watching those
great,
things
yes.
get off the ground, right?
Absolutely.
So very cool stuff. I did want to ask, because I've asked the Thunderbirds this, but are there some super secret Blue Angels handshake things that you guys do? Do you have some cool Top Gun stuff? Give us just a little behind the curtain.
So every officer, pilot has a crew chief, and they have their own little thing that they do, particular to each pilot. and only they know, honestly. So even the rest of the team sometimes doesn't know, and then after a while we start noticing, okay, cool, so it's going to be a good day. They did their secret handshake.
Okay, so like me and McKenna got to work on our super secret
Yeah,
handshake that none of the crew
something.
can find out.
Yeah. It's pretty
All
dope.
right, I like that. I like it. Well, Senior Chief Benito, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you and the Blue Angels coming and spending time with us and the greater Oklahoma City community. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right, so let's send it back out to the narrator, Rob Ryder.
The 97th Air Mobility Wing at Altus Air Force Base has the unique mission of training the world's C-17 and KC-135 Stratotanker pilots, loadmasters, and boom operators. Each year, 2,000 students graduate from the rigorous air crew training at Altus. And to showcase some of this unique training, we are going to be able to see these two aircraft in formation later on during the display. Flying the C-17 today. Our Major Victor Bro, Captain Justin Griswold, and Captain Zachary Marks as a safety pilot, and their assistant. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the wrong airplane. I'll get that straightened out just a moment. With a top speed of 515 miles per hour. Take a look now as the C-17 approaches from the left in a high-speed pass. Major Jonathan Crawley, Major Travis Rich, and Major Emily Bartmeyer are piloting this aircraft today. The loadmaster is Sergeant Mitchell Thompson. Among the crew members aboard the C-17, they have accumulated over 12,000 hours flying various Air Force aircraft. The C-17 incorporates a very advanced capability for loading over 102 combat troops or 160,000 pounds of cargo, including an MLA-1 Abrams battle tank. Up front, it's changed a lot. Typically, aircraft of this size have a control yoke or a control wheel that will enable the pilot to bank left or right and pull back to go up and push forward to go down. But this airplane has a bit of an identity crisis because it has a stick like a fighter jet. It also has something that fighter aircraft have had for many, many years, and that is called a heads-up display, or HUD. It's a piece of glass onto which is projected pertinent flight information so that the pilot doesn't have to look down into the cockpit to see his or her airspeed, attitude, climb rate, altitude, and other pertinent weapons and systems information. But as we see the C-17 approach now from the right, it is going into a situation or a regime called aerodynamically dirty. The landing gear is extended. The leading edge slats on the front of the wing are extended. The trailing edge flaps are also extended, changing the shape of the wing dramatically to give it exceptional slow speed handling capability. Coming through at less than 150 miles per hour. The aircraft, fully loaded, as I mentioned, 585,000 pounds.
runway. So it's got a quadruple redundant digital flight control system. As the pilot banks to the left, by moving that stick to the left, it's computers that do the work. But if all of those fail, there is still a manual backup, safeguarding against any sort of abnormal situation. Representing the 97th Air Mobility Wing, the 97th Operations Group, and the 54th Air Refueling Squadron, and the 58th Airlift Squadron, the C-17 and the KC-135 is demonstrating for us today. The C-17 also has the distinction of being one of the 3 most expensive aircraft in the United States Air Force, or I should say the United States military. The most expensive one being the B-2 stealth bomber. Only 22 of those were built. They came in at about $737 million a copy. Then the E-3 Sentry, the Airborne Warning and Control, or AWACS aircraft, comes in at $270 million. We'll see one of those later on today with a Team Tinker demonstration. And the C-17 comes in at number 3 at about $218 million a copy. About 275 were built, 220 or so remain in service with the United States military. And there you see a very, very rapid demonstration of a steep bank 360-degree turn.
Rosie's going to come over here and park.
If we go back to the 1940s, the Douglas Aircraft Corporation built the C-54 that was so important in the Berlin airlift after World War II in 1948. But then came the first of the Globemaster aircraft, the C-74, that was ordered in 1945, but the orders were canceled at the war's end. Then after that, a 4-piston-engined aircraft known as the C-124 Globemaster II came in. And then the C-133 Cargo Master, only 50 of those were built. And in a moment, we're going to see the C-17 Globemaster III, carrying on that name of Globemaster, teamed up with the KC-135. In the meantime, take a look, if you will, at the aircraft taxiing up to the right of Show Center. It is a very, very impressive airplane called the P-51C Mustang, and let me tell you just a little bit about it.
Of being in the cockpit, soaring above the clouds in a P-51C Mustang, the Tuskegee Airmen's signature aircraft. You'll experience the excitement and thrill of flying this awe-inspiring vintage World War II beauty. Head on over now for this free movie, and you may be the next
in the P-51C that will demonstrate its flight tomorrow, honoring the Tuskegee Airmen. You get a chance to look at it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, way out, maybe 3 or 4 miles out to the left, the KC-135 Stratotanker is going to go form up just in front of and above the C-17 Globemaster III. Aerial refueling started way back in the early days of aviation when pilots tried to figure out a way to extend the range of an aircraft without having to land and refuel. And on YouTube, there are pictures and there are videos of 2 World War I biplanes, probably Jenny trainers, Curtiss Jenny trainers, one with a hose hanging down and the one below it with a guy standing up on the wing trying to grab that hose and put it into the gas cap, into the gas tank to refuel it. It's easier now, but it is a very, very significantly challenging skill for the pilot of the KC-135, the boom operator who actually lays on his or her stomach at the rear of the aircraft looking out the back with 2 sticks to guide what they call the flying boom into the receptacle of the receiver aircraft, be it an F-16, be it an F-22, be it an F-35 or an F-15 or an A-10 or even a B-52 bomber, or in this case the C-17 Globemaster III. From the 97th Air Mobility Wing, here comes the demonstration in pre-contact position. The movement when they get up within 20 feet of one another, the movement of one aircraft will affect the movement of the other. The boom operator extends that boom and literally flies it into the receptacle of the receiver aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, the KC-135 and the C-17 Globemaster III. In the KC-135 today, Captain Zachary Marks, the co-pilot Captain Justin Griswold, the safety pilot Major Vic Bro, and the boom operator is Master Sergeant Lucas Treat. I mentioned earlier that the KC-135 Stratotanker went into production in the late 1950s. And of the 800, 400 have been modified with new engines. This CFM56 turbofan engine that generates 21,600 pounds of thrust. It enables the KC-135 Stratotanker to transfer over 200,000 pounds of fuel Now that transposes in terms of gallons to over 29,000 gallons. And a talented boom operator of a KC-135 Stratotanker can transfer enough fuel to operate your car for a year. Now, if you'll look to your right, the KC-135R Stratotanker with those new, bigger engines is going to do a low pass about 10 feet above the runway. The skill of the pilots is going to be demonstrated here. When they land, which you will see as well, you will see just how close the inner engine nacelles, or the containers for the engines, are to the ground. The pilots can only bank 3 degrees left or right without scraping those engine nacelles on the runway. And behind it, getting ready to do a special tactical landing, a short field landing, is the C-17. Here comes Zachary Marks, Justin Griswold, Vic Bro, and Lucas Treat in the 135, the KC-135. This was the predecessor to the Boeing 707 passenger jet that helped change the world. Give it up for the 135, everybody. Now, coming in at 140 miles per hour, getting ready to touch down. When it touches down, I want you to keep your eyes on the engine nacelles of the C-17. Panels will open up, and they will engage what are called the thrust reversers. Instead of having the thrust generated going out the back, it'll come forward and make it go in reverse. So as it touches down, check now, touchdown, the panels will open up on the sides, watch them open up, and this is about as much noise as this airplane's ever going to make. Now do you see the backup camera? The door that's opened at the back, that's the loadmaster of the C-17. That's Master Sergeant Mitchell Thompson. As advanced as the aircraft is, it does not have a backup cam. He's got to open the door and tell the pilots how to turn around and how to back up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel McDonald, first name again is Jonathan McDonald. You just came running up here. You've got an interactive experience for everybody here at our STEM event, right?
We are now joined by Rebecca Peterson, who not only was named the 2022 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year, but the 2023 National Teacher of the Year. Rebecca, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the background of your career?
Yeah, so I actually started out at the college level and taught there for 3 years and then switched over to Union High School and have been there since 2012 and just love it. I teach high school mathematics ranging from remedial math to AP calculus, and so I'm just so excited to be here with STEM Takes Flight because STEM is, it's my heart.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad that you mentioned that. The theme of our air show is STEM Takes Flight. Can you speak to the importance of STEM in the future of education, especially here in Oklahoma?
Yeah, what I love about STEM is that it taps into our students' inherent creativity, right? It teaches them how to explore, how to experience, how to collaborate, problem solve, think critically, how to read graphs and charts. And these are skills like we need in our upcoming jobs and also just in our daily lives. And so I'm such a passionate proponent for making sure that every student has a STEM pathway that they are passionate about, because STEM, it helps us take flight, right? It helps us envision our dreams and pursue our passions.
Yeah, that's amazing. What are some ways that you would like to see STEM incorporated into the curriculum?
Yeah, I think that what I would love to see is more just interconnections, right, intersections between curriculum. So just like I get excited about bringing history into math, I'd love to see math and science connected with the humanities. I always say that there's this like rhythmic, meditative aspect of mathematics. And so really, there's just this really human aspect in math. And so to bring the connections for our students, it's going to make it just even more exciting and more accessible to all kids.
Yeah, so I'm curious how you bring in potentially like a love of aviation maybe and into the STEM classroom. Is that something that you guys talk about?
Yeah, we do our best. We really try to bring in all kinds of careers and professions into the types of questions that we ask our kids, because we want to spur this excitement, right? So with aviation and math, we might talk about angle of elevation, or in calculus, we might talk about rate of fuel consumption. And so to bring in all these various careers is so important, because we want to make sure that every kid is excited about STEM.
Yeah, and what is it, do you think, as you teach obviously every day in the classroom, what is today's generation? How do they take to STEM? What are the things they're interested in? And I'm sure how you maybe received your education now today, they think differently than, generations past. So what are you seeing in today?
Yeah, I think particularly post-pandemic, they're looking for spaces where they can work together, right? They want to do math with each other. They want me to do math with them, not at them, right? So they're looking for collaborative spaces. They're looking for ways they can work together, where they can problem solve together. They're looking for ways to be pushed, but to still feel safe, right? They want to grow. They are, I think this generation maybe understands better than other generations that mistakes are proof we're trying. And they have, I think, a really beautiful growth mindset in general. And so they're willing to try. They're willing to push themselves. And I think we as educators have to meet that need.
Well, and I think throughout the history of the Air Force, DNA has kind of been in the blood of American airmen. So I think those are maybe the attributes that we need here on our team in the Air and Space Forces. So, So just curious, what are you going to do now as this reigning national champion, if you will? Like, so what does the next year or so look like for you? I hear it's pretty busy.
It's pretty busy. I've got, they said, a minimum of 150, more likely 200 engagements throughout the next year. Today's actually my first official day. It's July 1 to June 30th. So really this coming school year. And I'm trying to say I'm not leaving the classroom. My classroom just expanded, right? So I'll be traveling all across the United States, learning from teachers, talking hopefully with teachers, and hopefully inspiring a new generation of teachers.
Well, we're thankful that you inspire the kids of today. So thank you. Congratulations on your wonderful award. And, hope you have a wonderful year in your expanded classroom.
Thank you so much.
So right now we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights through the first hour plus of this 2023 Tinker Air Show.
as the Little Friends. They were escorting bomber aircraft from some 70 bases in Great Britain over to German-held territory to targets.
When the Mustang became outfitted with a Rolls-Royce Merlin
miles per hour. It had a radiator like our cars, a V12 engine. But the Rolls-Royce original engines were actually built one at a time, and they couldn't build them fast enough to meet up with the demand for the production line of the Mustang aircraft by North American. So it was American ingenuity and mass production techniques that made and metal motors to keep these airplanes flying throughout the war. The Packard Motor Car Company, Michigan, manufactured over 6,000 Merlin engines, and to this day, some parts will actually fit in the motors of these aircraft as they have to be replaced. And just as a point of interest, when Packard built these aircraft engines, Merlin engines, very precisely stopping the airplane each and every 45 miles. The companies that were involved in helping pack those motors is very interesting. As a matter of fact, on some of the valve cover casings on this aircraft and some of these Mustangs, there is a name that you will recognize, and that's Maytag. The same company that makes our home appliances today. They were making parts for the engines that flew along, that helped our guys keep these airplanes flying. Let's listen one more time as it comes by. This is a very rare sound indeed, the P-51C Mustang from the Commemorative Air Force.
Put on the F-16 Fighting Falcon some 30 years later. Same piece of technology. Now I want to see if I can go live to the cockpit. Say hello to Doug Rosendahl. Hello, Rosie. Do you got me? Hey, friend. The Mustang is perfect to hear the hum of that Packard-built Rolls-Royce engine.
I'd like to dedicate this final pass to all those who are serving now, have served, and especially to the Tuskegee Airmen who made a tremendous difference in the world we live in today. And so again, on behalf of all the members, and there's lots of CAF members here today, we appreciate that. To the Tuskegee Airmen and all who served, here we come.
Thank you, Rosie. We're looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, get your cameras ready. Hold them sideways. It'll be easier to track. Give us a countdown for us, Rosie. From the left. Ladies and gentlemen, he can hear you in the cockpit. Give Doug Rosendahl a big round of applause. Hear that, partner?
Thank you, everybody. We'll be on the ground.
And you can see that aircraft close up near the rise above exhibit here on the field and learn the story of the Tuskegee Airmen here at our show today. Have you picked up your free air show map presented by Loves? This free map has lots of information about the air show and an autograph section so you can get your favorite pilot's signature. Thank you, Loves, for sponsoring the air show map. And take some time to go up to the north end of the air show to STEM City, presented by Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission. This year's air show theme is STEM Takes Flight. Be sure to take kids ages 4 to 12th grades, where many interactive activities, including flying drones, robotics, flight simulators, and more are taking place. This free STEM City has over 20 vendors with a host of STEM-related hands-on activities. That rise above exhibit is presented by Northrop Grumman. Also, the rise above exhibit talks about the WASP, the Women's Air Service Pilots, who also supported the World War effort. Be sure to see the authentic and famous Red Tail 50 P-51 as it goes by and gets ready to land. You'll get a chance to get up close and personal with it. The landing gear is down on the P-51C model Mustang. That particular model had an older style canopy and cockpit. The most definitive model of the Mustang was the P-51D, and it incorporated a bubble canopy to greatly increase the visibility and situational awareness of the pilot. And if you look there directly in front, you see some smoke from an airplane that's sitting there on the ramp. Doug Rosendahl will land, and then we're going to go on to the beginning of the jet age shortly after World War II. And there is one other thing I want you to take a look at as the Mustang touches down. Look at it and look how far apart the main gear wheels are. That wide stance made the aircraft a little easier to handle on the ground. Unlike the trainers that the cadets flew in that had much narrower landing. And there you can see the old style canopy, not near the visibility to the sides and to the rear, but that is the P-51 Red Tail Mustang honoring the Tuskegee Airmen.